Chapter 1.6 Cultural Interactions Between Europeans, Native Americans, and Africans. When three worlds collide, they don't just fight over gold and land. They trade ideas, misunderstand each other, and slowly blend into something new. In this chapter, we'll see how these peoples reshaped one another's cultures, where their worldviews clashed most sharply, how their views of each other changed, and how native peoples fought back. Let's dive in. Here's the big idea. Bring Europeans, Native Americans, and Africans together on one continent, and three things happen at once. They exchange, sharing foods, technologies, languages, and faiths. They clash over deep differences in how they see land, gender, and religion. And they blend, fusing into entirely new cultures and peoples. On top of all that, the way these groups viewed one another changed over time, usually for the worse. That's the heart of Key Concept 1.2, and the focus of this chapter, interaction and perception. Start with the blending because it's easy to forget amid the conflict. As these peoples lived alongside one another, their cultures fused, languages borrowed words, foods and music mixed, technology spread. One of the most powerful examples is religious syncretism, the blending of Catholicism with native and African beliefs. Think of the Virgin of Guadalupe in Mexico, an image both Catholic and indigenous. Across the Americas, native peoples often adopted Christianity on the surface while quietly keeping their traditional beliefs alive. And entirely new peoples, mestizos and mulattoes, forged new identities. Out of contact came genuinely new cultures. Now the clashes, and the exam loves this comparison. Europeans and native peoples often saw the world in fundamentally different ways. Take land. Europeans believed in private property, land you own, fence and sell, while many native peoples saw land as communal, used and shared rather than owned. On gender, European society was patriarchal, while many native societies were matrilineal, with women farming and holding real power. On religion, Europeans believed in one true faith and a duty to convert others, while native religions honoured many spirits tied to nature and place. And on wealth, Europeans accumulated private riches, while many native cultures earned status through giving. These weren't small differences. They drove centuries of conflict. Of all those differences, the clash over land runs deepest, so it gets its own slide. To Europeans, land was private property, something an individual owns, fences, buys, and sells. To many native peoples, land was communal, used and cared for by the group, not owned by any person. The consequences were explosive. Europeans looked at land that wasn't fenced or farmed in their way and saw it as empty, unused, and free for the taking. Native peoples saw the very same land as their homeland being stolen out from under them. This single misunderstanding over property drives an enormous amount of American history, right up to the present. Two more divides worth pinning down. First, gender. In many native societies, especially in the eastern woodlands, women did the farming and held genuine political and economic influence, and lineage often ran through the mother. Europeans coming from strict patriarchal societies completely misread this. They saw powerful women and farming men as a sign of disorder. Second, religion. Native religions typically honoured many spirits woven into the natural world, while European Christianity insisted on one true faith and a duty to convert everyone else. Through the missions, Europeans pressed native peoples to abandon their beliefs, a clash of worldviews that bred deep resentment. Now, how did these groups' views of each other change over time? At first, contact often brought curiosity, trade, and cautious cooperation. Both sides had things the other wanted. But as European exploitation deepened, That gave way to conflict and distrust. Crucially, Europeans increasingly developed ideas of their own cultural and eventually racial superiority, and those ideas were used to justify seizing native land and forcing native and African labour. Remember the Valladolid debate from last chapter. Europeans literally argued over whether native peoples were fully human. Perceptions hardened into hierarchy, a belief system built to excuse domination. It's essential to understand that native peoples were not passive victims. They resisted constantly in many ways. Some resisted with force, through revolts and warfare. Many resisted culturally, keeping their languages, religions, and traditions alive even under intense pressure. Others practiced accommodation, adapting, negotiating, and blending in order to survive. And many used diplomacy and alliances, even playing rival European powers against one another. Across the whole colonial era, native peoples were active agents shaping their own fate. And the single most dramatic example of armed resistance is coming up next. Here it is, the most successful native uprising against Europeans in North American history. In present-day New Mexico, Spanish rule had crushed Pueblo religion, destroying sacred sites and punishing traditional practices, while forcing labor and tribute. In 1680, a Pueblo religious leader named Pope united normally separate Puebloan communities into a single coordinated revolt. They destroyed Spanish missions, killed hundreds of colonists, and drove the Spanish completely out of the region, and kept them out for about 12 years. Note the date. 1680 falls just after period 1 on the calendar, but it's the classic example of resistance to Spanish colonization. So know it cold. Pope pushed Spain out. So why does this chapter matter? Because the meeting of Europeans, Native Americans, and Africans permanently reshaped all three. The Americas became a place defined by both blending and conflict at the same time. New peoples, new faiths, and new foods, alongside dispossession, slavery, and hardening hierarchies of race. The cultural patterns and the inequalities forged in this era didn't fade. They became the foundation of everything that follows in American history. Contact created a new world, deeply intertwined and deeply unequal. Anchor it to the College Board. Key Concept 1.2. Contact among Europeans, Native Americans, and Africans led to cultural exchange and blending, and to conflict, resistance, and changing perceptions of one another. And your specific topic 1.6 job is to explain how and why European and Native American views of each other developed and changed over time. Notice the focus on perception and change. This topic is about mindsets shifting, not just events happening. In theme terms, this chapter is led by American and regional culture. It's all about cultures exchanging, clashing, and blending. You'll also see social structures in the hardening hierarchies, geography and the environment in the clash over land, and America in the world as three continents peoples intertwine. Lead your essays with American and regional culture. 2 skills to drill. First, comparison. This topic is tailor-made for it. Be ready to compare European and native worldviews on land, gender, and religion point by point. Second, continuity and change over time. Trace how perceptions changed from early curiosity and trade to hardening hierarchy and open resistance. Comparison and continuity and change are your point winners in this chapter. Lock it in. Screenshot this slide. 1. Exchange, clash, blend. The 3 things that happen when cultures meet, all at once. 2. Land, owned versus shared. The deepest culture clash. Private property against communal use. 3. Syncretism equals mixed faiths. Catholic blended with native and African beliefs, like the Virgin of Guadalupe. And 4. The Pueblo Revolt of 1680, when Pope pushed Spain out, the most successful native revolt in North America. 4 hooks. Chapter locked. 60-second recap. 1. When Europeans, native peoples, and Africans met, they exchanged, clashed, and blended cultures. 2. Blending produced syncretism. Catholicism fused with native and African religions. 3. The deepest clash was over land, private ownership versus communal use, along with gender and religion. 4. Europeans built ideas of their own superiority to justify domination, while native views moved toward resistance. And 5. Native peoples resisted in many ways, most famously the Pueblo Revolt of 1680. Lock it in. That's Chapter 1.6. Next up is the final topic of Unit 1, Chapter 1.7, Causation in Period 1, where we step back and connect the causes and effects across everything we've learned, the exact skill the exam rewards most. After that, a full unit review with practice questions. Subscribe so you don't miss it, and I'll see you in the next one on your way to a 5.